Hah? Mana tahu? Oh, well. Ya. Live ready. Okay. Hi guys. So, wasn't planning to do another live feed so soon after yesterday, but um, I'm using this opportunity actually to try out a new streaming software that I just downloaded, OBS software as well. So, yeah, drop a line in the comment section. Let me know how the quality of this stream feels to you guys. That's one thing. Second thing is after yesterday's stream, all right, with the post that I put up on my community wall, there were a few more questions that came up on that post that I didn't sempat to answer during the live stream. So I'm going to cover those first, and if got time after that, I'll take a few more live questions. Today I plan to keep it short. It's already late. It's already 11:30 p.m. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys again after we play our intro. Okay, and we are on. Okay, so for now, I am not taking any live questions yet. What I will do is I'm going back to yesterday's post to read the comments from that post and also some other comments first, and then after that we will go to live Q&A if you guys are still up for it. Okay, so first question, LCCU asked me what's my full-time job. This this is my full-time job, working with aurizn, reviewing cars, but now we've also gone on to review properties, watches, and recently you saw in one of my recent video below also I reviewed. So we are basically, you can think of us now as more like lifestyle media, whereby cars are our main focus, our flagship product, but basically anything that working adults use is of interest to us. Okay, so next question from, okay, that answers John Gomez's question as well. Other than reviewing cars, what do you do for a living? HK asks me, if you have the money, would you buy any electric car right now in Malaysia? Is the technology ready yet for balik kampung and all that stuff? Well, it's ready if your kampung has an electric car charger. Um, as there are many, you see, the thing is that the electric car itself, it's a very simple thing, right? It's just battery and motor. That's it. You just have to charge the battery. The challenge is to prepare the charging infrastructure, and the thing is, the major breakthrough will be how quickly we can replenish the range of the electric car from empty or quarter to three-quarter full or full within the time frame of 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most, right? So once they have solved the fast charging issue, or maybe they can do like a battery swap thing, um, there will still be that resistance toward full adoption of an electric vehicle, I would say. So for me, I memang envision some point or rather within, I would say maybe even as close as 5 or 10 years, I may find myself with an electric vehicle. But I will still definitely keep one internal combustion engine car in my disposal, just in case I need to take a long trip. I foresee the usage of EVs to be for close distance commutes, like sending the kids to school, going for groceries, or or doing my daily errands. Yeah. So yes, definitely I do see myself buying electric car one day, but not today. And YJ861 asks me Lancer 2.4 Sportback versus Civic Turbo versus Mazda Skyactiv 3. Wow, these three, firstly, the Lancer Sportback I think is out because it's a dated product. Um, the Civic Turbo is the best segment all rounder. Uh, Yeah, so I think if you narrow down into these three choices to me, because if you're looking at brand new versus brand new, I would probably pick the Civic Turbo now because the new Mazda 3 is like a good 30-40K more expensive. And yeah, it's an appreciably higher spec car, feels more luxurious, feels more premium inside. But it doesn't do it. Yeah, the Civic Turbo is just a better value package overall, better all-round package. If you're talking about previous gen Mazda 3, I would actually choose the previous gen Mazda 3 because it was CKD, the price was way more affordable, and of course it had multi-link rear suspension, and that to me gives me the kind of handling characteristics that I prefer. Okay, Danny DeVito asks any second-hand cars you recommend, especially to someone who really got their license. Any car that's big enough for someone big in size. Your question is quite open-ended. So well, just someone recently got your license. Hmm, well, you can. I think it really depends on. You need to give more specific uh, parameters before I can narrow down a choice. But what can I say? If you really don't know what to think, get a Myvi. You can't go wrong with a Myvi. Uh, Used. Okay, KW said used underrated SUV below 40,000. Hyundai, Kia, and Subaru. Yeah, those are good choices. The Subaru. After my live feed, a few people point out the Subaru XV as a good choice for a sub 50,000 ringgit SUV, and definitely, I'll highly recommend that. Okay, uh, let's see. So, Manwai, who commented on my on my video, said, minor correction, 86 has McPherson struts at front and multi-link suspension at the rear, no double wishbones. Can't believe I made that error. But Manwai here, I know for a fact he is an 86 owner, so I will trust him on this. And lastly, we have Shukri Yakob, 33-year-old, driving Saga FLX, thinking of upgrading my car. Second-hand car budget of 60 to 70K loan. You're looking at an Accord pre-facelift or Toyota Camry 2015. This will be my daily car, which I will use for work and travel. If you have any other suggestions or some other alternative I should consider, if you're looking at these two choices, right? Between these two, I'll pick the Accord. All right, 2015 to 2016, to me, it's the Accord. The Camry, mm, if you are regular long distance work and travel, right? Uh, you may not be interested in the hybrid because the hybrid the boot space is much smaller. The 2.0, the Camry 2.0 to me at that time had the class leading engine. It had the what? It had the 8AR engine that is 2 liter direct and port injection engine, VVTIW, very advanced. In fact, the Camry 2.0 has a more sophisticated combustion engine than the Camry hybrid. I would consider it to be the class leading engine of that time. But as an overall package, I think the Accord is just a better all rounder. Handling wise and comfort wise, handling wise, the Accord is this Accord generation of the Accord way better than the Camry, and does not lose much on comfort either. So between these two choices, I would recommend that you go for the Accord. Okay, so that concludes me reading out the old questions. And before I continue, let me just take a quick break.
Saved about 500 bucks.
You save about 1,000 plus.
to work out cheaper for me.
3,000.
215, even more.
Facebook for 200 plus. 400 bucks of savings.
All right, thank you for staying with us, guys. So let's run through the comments again. Afiq Reza, what's your thought about the 110 horsepower Tesla Model S revised? Um, I think the Tesla Model S, even before this 110 horsepower model, is already a very convincing proposition for an electric car. So having 110 horsepower makes it an even more convincing package, of course. I haven't read in depth about that car yet, but gotta wonder, man. 110 horses uh, in public roads. I hope whoever that drives these cars are responsible drivers. Saharuddin Anwar, Ford Mustang or M4. The M4 will drive better for sure, will handle better, but the Mustang has way higher cool factor. So it depends on what you want. If you want something, what you call you want something that that is cool, that's special, different from everyone else, go for the Mustang. If you really want that driving precision, the handling and all that, then of course the M4 is a dynamically sharper car. Mr. Modification, the techie, what is your dream car? E39 M5. Cation, how to keep a car engine running and running smooth? Clean, just do your oil changes. Just do your oil changes regularly, all right, as per the service, as recommended. Yeah, and and that's about it really. Do your maintenance, or do your oil change frequent according to recommended frequency, and you will be fine. And don't forget to change uh, what you call that, the oil filter as well. Danny DeVito, is there a car you recommend that is big enough for someone extremely tall, especially secondhand, for someone who just got their license? Danny, how about you tell me what are the cars that you are thinking of, and I will run through them with you. Cation, if Shell Helix Ultra 5W40 is it good? If it's good, it's good. Just make sure that you get genuine oil. Okay, there are a lot of counterfeit oil out there, so be careful where you source your oil from. If the source is legit, then yeah, definitely, because you can't go wrong buying oil from the reputable manufacturers. You can't go wrong with that. What are your thoughts on the new X5 by Manrajit Gill? It's nice, drives very well, but interestingly, right, majority of my friends who test drove the X5 and test drove the Volvo XC90 end up buying the Volvo XC90. The X5 to me drives better. It's nicer to drive. The inline six is it's a nicer engine to rev compared to the Volvo 2.0 turbo plus supercharged. But as an overall package, right, there is no the XC90 is just a more convincing all-rounder compared to the X5. So 9 out of 10 times for regular use, most people will find the XC90 to be the superior car. So uh, yes, the X5 is marginally better to drive, but you need to drive it very exuberantly in order to be able to get yourself in situations where you can appreciate the its dynamic superiority, because otherwise most other conditions the XT90 makes the superior choice. Sherman C, do you think it makes sense to get the pre-reg E350 now, which can be over 20,000 ringgit cheaper, or is it worth to wait for the new E? Get the E350 now. The new E class is still a long way to go before it comes to Malaysia. So if you fancy the car, get it now. And Toto, why do you think Mercedes have not brought in the non-AMG CLAs to sell more A-class sedans? I suppose so. I suppose so. I can't think of another reason why not. Benny Law, hi Con, may I know before you bought your E39, can you tell how you do you research on the common issues of the car, wanting to buy a second-hand car but don't know where and how to do the proper research? First thing, join Facebook groups. I was, I think, in E39 Facebook groups for at least 3 or 4 months before I bought my car. So I looked at all the common problems that people face. You go to international forums as well. You see, the thing is that with the E39, it is a 2-decade-year-old car. So whatever problems that the car can potentially face, someone somewhere has faced it. And till today, I have yet to encounter a problem in my car that that someone else in the world has not dealt with before. The only one that caught me by surprise was the recent leaking of the ABS pump hose. Right, there's one in one of my more recent videos. There's an issue that I was not aware of, but later on after that, I actually chatted with another E39 owner who faced the same thing before me. So it's the information is out there, but it also depends on what car that you are looking at. Okay, the E39, admittedly, it's a well-established car in the market. It's a very popular car, one that's liked by enthusiasts. So researching on that car was very, very easy. Ivan Lim, hi Kwan, what do you think of the new Fortuner 2.8 versus Everest Titanium? Um, I think I think most people would prefer the Fortuner, but of course the 2.8 liter road tax will be a bit of a hindrance to some. But for me, at this kind of segment, I've come to prefer a larger capacity engine. But of course, the Everest is a more attractive looking design. You get, I think, the latest version. You get a 2-liter turbo as well. So and the 2-liter turbo is also it matches the Fortuner in terms of output. So you pay much less road tax for similar or better amounts of power. But overall, I still have I would for the over the long run. I think I would still be inclined to pick the Fortuner in this particular comparison. But if you want a bit more sophisticated choice, then go for the Everest. Danny DeVito. To be more specific, my parents did recommend between a Suzuki Swift or a Nissan Almera. I recommend against the Almera, but the Suzuki Swift for someone taller. Um, The Suzuki Swift is a very, very nice car to drive. I'm not sure if you're referring to the 1.4 or the 1.5, but both are very fun. Very, they are mechanically basic, but the basic components are all very well honed. So the cars feel resolved. It has a high degree of mechanical refinement. So if you ask me, the Swift will be a much more joyful car to drive. Although I know from experience of friends that parts are not as cheap or readily available to source as the Almera or other Nissan, other Japanese B segment cars. But if you're looking at this segment, right? Between these two, I'll pick the Swift. But if you're looking for an alternative, I also would recommend you to look at the Honda Jazz or the Honda City. Side Afif, F30 316 versus 318. Go for the 318. I heard the 316 is the 1.6 liter turbo engine not that reliable compared to the others. So I'll pick the 318. A lot of people will laugh at the 318 for being underpowered, 1.5 liter one. You have to give way to a Civic. But the thing is, if you take the 318 on winding mountain roads, the lighter three-cylinder engine actually gives the 318 a sharper turn in. So the handling of the 318 is actually better balanced than the 316i. So if you ask me to narrow down between these two, I'll go for the 318. But if you can find a 320 at a similar price, that to me is the pick of the F30 range. MCR's dilemma between Hilux Rogue and Triton Myvac. If you ask me, if you have rough usage in mind, of course the Hilux is the safer bet, but the Triton is the one with the best in class road manners. So if you want something that's comfortable, you want something that handles, that gives you a, a confident kind of handling behavior, Triton for sure. Thomas, hi Thomas. And guys, Thomas is here. Remember, tomorrow Thomas will be speaking with with our colleague Alex Wong. Eh, wait, sorry about the interruption. Tomorrow Thomas will be speaking with Alex Stamrock. They will be talking about Alex's adventure riding from the north end of the American continent to the southern end. So definitely something to occupy you guys tomorrow morning. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Okay, Thomas and Alex. Ivan Lim, any news of the Pajero Sport coming to town? No, I think as far as I'm concerned, the Pajero Sport don't not does not have a future in Malaysia anymore. Yep. Who's there? Just now over browse the comments. Sorry. Cation says 318. Fizan Fuad, Icon, Inspira or Lancer GT. Between these two, the Inspira, believe it or not, the Inspira, because the Proton engineers actually improved on the Inspira's handling. So if you are choosing between these two, I'd say go for the Inspira. But the differences are quite minor. So really, it's down to a matter of preference, and especially in the used car market, the price wouldn't be a big difference. Taco, hi, watching from Thailand. Hi, Taco. Hi, Zentwi. David Tan, hi, Con, BRZ or 86 or X50 for single guy for daily drive. If you ask me to choose between this and you're a single guy, of course you go for the BRZ or the 86. I mean, the X50, yeah, it's not a bad choice, but let's look at it from a purely rational perspective. Let's talk about resale value. You buy the 86, let's assume you find an 86 or BRZ at the same price as an X50 today. 3 or 4 years down the road, your X50 will have depreciated a lot more severely than your BRZ or 86. Yeah. And from the way you ask, I think the BRZ or 86 is something that you want, but the X50 is suggested to upon you as a safe option. Okay, so Sherman C. Do you think the XC90 T8 is still competitive after 5-year-old, or would you recommend to wait for the new one, 2022 refresh? Sherman, let's put it this way. A few of my friends who tested the new BMW X5, and despite the fact that I really like the BMW X5, after testing the X5, they went to buy the XC90. And Bobby also told me that there are some XC90 owners, first batch XC90 owners, they decided want to change car, right? They don't know what to do. They change back to a newer XC90. Hi, Tianlong. Thomas, Toyota Mark X second gen versus Honda Civic FK Type R. This is not even this is easy, man. Mark X all the way. Kahing, new X50 lower spec or used 1 or 2 year HRV or Subaru XV. Really boils down to what you're looking for. The Subaru XV will be the hardiest car of this three. But if you are looking for if you have a priority for interior space, the HRV has the most practical interior. But of course, the X50 is the best all-round package for this. And if you're talking about an X50, there's this, and even at the lower spec X50, right, the equipment of the X50 is still at least on par or maybe even better in certain respects than both the HRV or Subaru. Fizan Fuad Afrizan, thoughts about the Polo GTI was to buy as a first car? Yes. Afzam, would you buy a GLE Coupe, GLE 43 Coupe or the GLC 43 Coupe? It's pretty much the same price. between I to me, I've never been quite a fan of the GLE Coupe, GLC Coupe, X4, X5, these genre of cars. Uh, I would still I still prefer my SUVs to be a bit more upright. So I mean, but I think in this choice, I will pick the GLC because it's based on a slightly more modern architecture. So yeah, definitely GLC for me. And the GLC platform drives better than the previous gen GLE platform anyways. Shukri, which Camry model and year are you referring to as best in class? As I'm looking for the 2.0 only. Which is more reliable and easy, cheap to maintain? In terms of reliability wise, cheap to maintain, they are both about the same one, okay? Doesn't run away, doesn't run far. I'm talking about the Camry, the previous gen Camry facelift, the one that is same generation as the hybrid. Uh, the one where they did an engine change for the 2-liter model, right? So that engine has direct injection plus port injection, and it also has VVTIW, means that engine is able to switch combustion cycles between the Otto cycle and the Atkinson cycle. Very advanced, very sophisticated engine. HSD, I want Inspira, but backseat area seems not spacious. Any other recommendations? Inspira, backseat not spacious. What's the price of an Inspira now? I think. Wait, let me just check. How much is the price of a Proton Inspira? Wait, okay, I sort by high to low lah. Okay, the most wow, are you kidding me? Inspira got 50,000 . I mean, I'm looking at examples asking for 48, 49, 50,000. Wow. Uh, wow. Okay. Um, well, for if you're looking at that budget, right? Consider a BMW E60 or I think a Mercedes W2 212 early batch may also be at that price. But if you want a safer bet, I think you can look at an Accord, maybe a 7 or 8. I think a 7 or 8 year old Accord is probably Honda Accord is probably around the same price. I think. Right, let's check Accord. I shall limit the budget to 50,000 ringgit. And where does that leave me? Yeah, you can get the 2 generations ago Accord that Proton rebatched as the Perdana. So that's something you can definitely consider. All right. Shukri Yaakob, I remember I watched that video for Accord 2.0 to be careful with suspension. Is this applicable as well for the 2015-2016 pre-facelift Accord? Well, you see, Shukri, the thing about Honda cars is that generally it is accepted wisdom that the suspension bushes of Hondas do wear fast, and it's not a serious thing. It's not something that should be a deal breaker. So definitely, if you want to if you want to buy, there's no stopping you. Just be ready to refresh all these wear and tear parts lah. Okay. Firdaus Sopian, what's your thought on mods? For example, Inspira to Evo, G30 to F90. Well, let's put it this way. I think it's easier to just buy a proper Evo or a proper F90, right, rather than buying the cheaper car and mod to because at the end of the day you are going to end up spending more about the same money. And as for something like the G35 series mod to an F90 M5, forget it. There is so little in common between those cars that there is no point. You will end up spending more money than you would if you had bought an original car. Hargopi Selvarani, can you explain about understeer and oversteer? Okay, it's going to take too long if I go in details, but the simple explanation is understeer is when your front wheels lose traction. So when you go in a corner, front wheels lose traction. What happens is when you turn, your car goes straight. Oversteer is when you turn, your rear wheels lose traction, and as a result, your tail end slides and you go sideways. Okay, so Spherix asks, okay, hi Saharudin, hi Ziang. Spirits asks, Megan RS 250 versus RS 265, price and age aside, which one and why? Of course, the 265 for more for its better performance, but I think between these two, you are really shopping based on condition. So if you find yourself with a 250 that is of a good price and good condition, uh, yeah, then it's just as good a choice. Hazwan Muhammad, hi bro, City or Almera look better? I assume you're talking about the current gen Almera, then definitely the the Almera for sure. All right. Sanjiva Rao, hi Con is a used F30 330E a good value buy or should just stick to new cars like the Mazda 3? The Mazda 3 is not a bad choice. The F30 330E, this one is really it's to me it's like buying lottery, and some owners have had no problems with the car, but some have a ton of issues. So I don't know, man. I think a used F30 is not a bad idea, but maybe you should look for a non-PHEV version. Is the 2012-2014 Ford Fiesta a good buy? There are plenty selling at 10K or lower. Well, at 10K or lower, it's what's the worst that can happen, right? The Fiesta is known to have gearbox issues, so so you just assume that the gearbox is going to break when you buy it. So the next question that you need to ask is, you need to check how much does it cost to fix the gearbox of a Fiesta, factor it to your purchase price, and decide if that is worth your money. All right. So Danny DeVito says you're still kind of new and you're interested in cars. Well, that's what we are here for. WJ Lau, Mazda 3 2.5 turbo. Do you think there's a chance it will come to Malaysia? I really don't know. I really don't know. I hope they do, but I really don't know. Hargopi Selvarani, what is your thought on the NASA 206 Bestari? Stay away. 2020 Accord or 2020 Camry? I've answered this yesterday, but to quickly answer, Camry, because I think the TNGA platform is the Camry handles better, and for this segment sedan, I still prefer a large capacity engine. Cool Kajin, what do you think about a used Proton Perdana Accord version? It's fine, but if you're buying the restyled one, right, there's one issue about that car that I don't quite there's an issue with the rear doors. Okay, the rear doors whereby Proton reshaped the door frame and they left a sharp edge at the top at the trailing edge of the door. To me, that is a hazard, and that would turn me off from buying the car. Andrew Gunawan, have you been to Indonesia? No, actually, I have not. Why Mark X over Civic Type R? Because it's, I don't know, the Mark, because I think when the Mark X first came to came to Malaysia via the grey import markets, I thought it was a rather handsome car, and I think it's a more stately car. So and the Type R, the Civic, you're talking about Civic Type R FD2, that would be a tougher choice, but FK8 easy choice, because you see the thing is that they don't make the Mark X anymore, but there are still new FK8 Type R's rolling out from the factory. All right. Toto, I really like the current GLE. Such a shame it's not priced to compete with the X5 and XC90. Yeah, because Mercedes did not choose to CKD. That's why. Yeah, Thomas said Mark X really underrated, and it's rear wheel drive. That's right, and it's a proper sleeper. The man asked E39 and G30 handling comparison. Um, Honestly, right, if you're talking about the G30, of course, is easily faster, more agile than the E39. With my new suspension, the car rides firmer. It rides firmer, but it's still pliant enough for day-to-day use. Is it not possible to source for new M Sport springs? It is. But the thing is that springs is perfectly okay to get used units, and it's much cheaper. The thing that you have to watch out for will be the absorbers. So I'm buying this with eyes fully open. All right. The main objective is to acquire the springs and see how long the absorbers last. And after this, the next set going is going to be new absorbers after that. Eric V, what do you think of the Mazda 3 Sedan High Plus? Are they going to bring in the turbo? A lot of people are asking me about the turbo. Honestly, I don't know. Uh, there's no indication that they will. I am one of the few who prefer the Mazda 3 Sedan. It's a more to me, I like the proportion. The sedan is very, very well proportioned for the Mazda 3. It's a very handsome looking car, and yeah, it looks and feels very upmarket to me. So I like the sedan, and yeah, it's I like that car. All right. So Don Donkey, I like the 90s Japanese full size sedans. Toyota Chaser, Mark II, Cresta, possible to find in Malaysia. Got a few, got a few. 2012 Polo GTI CBO. How about the usual VW problems? Is it resolved? Um, Usually VW problems are. I think the Polo GTI is actually less problematic than the regular Polos because the gearbox is of a higher is I think the Polo G to my because I know a friend who drives the Polo GTI and doesn't face did not face any issues, right? Not as much as the Golf Mark 6 or the or the others. What do you think of the Infiniti Q50 2.0 T? Um, Infinity, it has I don't know, man. Honestly, the thing about it is that there's the issue of the integration with the Mercedes engine. And if you're really looking at the Infinity, right? The Q50 2.0 T suffers from the 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 integration with the Mercedes engine somehow doesn't feel perfect. And the thing is that when it came on, right, I actually drove that car back to back against the Mercedes C200, and somehow in the Infinity, right, the engine feels rougher, not as refined than it was in the C200. So I don't recommend it. If you really like the Infinity, I recommend that you consider the Q70 instead. That the Q70 is the Infinity equivalent of the of the E class and the 5 Series. It feels like a much better resolved package. It's a very comfortable car. Handles not too badly. It uses a direct injected version of the Nissan 2.5 engine. It drives pretty well, so it's not bad. Manwin, how is Golf Mark 7 easy to maintain? How about the maintenance? Nobody says Golf Volkswagens are easy to maintain, but there are no shortage of people with the right expertise to maintain the Volkswagen. All right, so it's not that scary lah, to be frank, and I think there are plenty of Volkswagen Facebook groups out there, so go search them out and and see what are the common problems. I don't think it's see the thing about Volkswagen, right, is that when you go to the GTI badges, the cars have slightly higher grade hardware um, that that make them a bit more durable. So I noticed that a lot of complaints with Volkswagen cars are with the regular non-GTI cars. The Golf Rs, the Golf GTIs, they tend to be a bit more durable than the others. Wait, somebody. Okay, JJ Denise. What is your take on Alpha 159? Run towards or away from it. As is with all Alfa Romeos, when if you want to take on one, be sure to do your homework. Know somebody who is who knows their way around the car. And yeah, I mean, I know of a few 159 owners. They are very happy with the car, and the 159 is one of the designs that I like. So it's a nice car, right? But of course, it's a 7-speed gearbox. So when you shop for one, you also have to be aware of the maintenance history of the car, and yeah, and have it checked by a mechanic. Okay, Delbert Roy asks, 2016 Civic suitable as first car? How about maintenance? Is 1.8 or turbo better? Of course, the 1.8 running on a proven engine is definitely going to be the more reliable option. Okay, is it suitable as the first car? I think the prices have depreciated now that they are about the price of a Myvi. So yeah, I think it's all right. Chin Wen Chun, 9 Gen Accord have major problem ABS pump malfunctioning. Do take note. I think a lot of cars actually have ABS pump issues because the problem with ABS pump is that it's situated inside the engine bay. It generates heat. So yeah, unless the car manufacturer gives proper heat insulation to the module, right, the heat will kill it off for sure. Nudge me. Personally, I don't recommend the 330E. Buy the 330i. Yeah, the 330i will actually be one of the F30s that will hold its value because it's probably one of the rarest variants of the range. And but you have to watch out though. The ride of the 330i is a bit firm when I reviewed it for Carlis last time. So do be sure to test drive that. Dennis CM Young, daily drive in city Subaru XV versus X70, which more suitable to go? I would say the X70 is a more refined, more advanced, more sophisticated car. The XV really has the advantage only if you are taking it on slightly rougher terrain, right? Otherwise, the X70 will be the better choice any day. 50k, used Volkswagen CC or Mazda 3? Well, Mazda 3 is the safer choice at this price. But of course, the Volkswagen CC is more eye-turning. It gives you more exhilarating performance with a turbo engine. So and Volkswagen cars, the ride and handling is very very well sorted. So definitely for 50k, you're getting more car with the Volkswagen CC, but the Mazda 3 will be the safest choice if you don't dare to take that. John Smith, between the previous gen Mazda 3 onwards, if you were to compare to the latest Mazda 3 in terms of driving dynamics, which do you prefer? The new Mazda 3, Mazda did a lot of effort to improve their car on many fronts. But and the thing is that there's a lot of debate on Mazda going from multi-link to torsion beam, and I have to say one thing: Mazda did a great job in negating many of the disadvantages of a torsion beam with the new Mazda 3, and the new Mazda 3, because it has a torsion beam, uh, it is able to turn in sharper. Why? Because you see, right, when you have a car with multi-link rear suspension, when you make a turn, the rear end will sit, all right, will sit and will push the car. But whereas with the torsion beam, the rear end has a slightly greater tendency to shift. So as it shifts, right? So if you if the engineers, the chassis engineers know how to hold that properly, what it does is that this shifting allows them to point the nose better into the bends. So that is something that that's one thing. And also Mazda commented that in general they admit that really on the really hard on the road on the limit driving, an independent rear suspension will still provide superior cornering characteristics, but the torsion beam allows them to give, because there are fewer variables to tackle, all right, because there are fewer linkages, so there are fewer bushes to wear, and as a result, over time, the deterioration of the suspension performance is less severe compared to the multi-link rear suspension. So what you have is, let's say like you have, this is the performance of your multi-link suspension. Over time, as the bushes wear, it deteriorate. But with the torsion beam, this is the level and it goes, the deterioration is slower. Okay, that's one. And of course, because there are fewer bushes to wear, there's also less transmission of noise into the cabin. Uh, but the thing is that for my kind of driving, I still prefer to have a car that's independently sprung at the back. So I pick the previous gen car. Andrew Gunawan. Wait, sorry. Fan from Indonesia. Hello, sir. Thoughts in Mazda developing rear-wheel drive inline platform for the new Mazda 6? Is it a waste of money? It's a very, very baller move, I have to say. As an enthusiast, of course, I'm excited. But as a fan of the brand, also definitely concerned whether Mazda will be able to monetize this platform adequately, right, to ensure that they are profitable. So I think it's definitely exciting. And I'm sure that whatever they come up with will be brilliant. I just hope enough people buy the car. The man says Mazda 3 has these organic lines. Mazda say where there are no hard lines. Problem is in person it looks like it's been crashed and mended badly, don't you think? No, I don't think so. I assume you're talking about the current gen Mazda 3, right? In fact, I think it's brilliant because you see when you look at the side profile, there isn't a single sharp line on that car that I can recall. So it is a very high level of bodywork making in that car. So it's a very high level of design and manufacturing with the new Mazda 3. All right. SP Studio Lancer Sportback CVT gearbox, is it reliable? Um, the funny story. Early on, when the Lancer GT was first launched in Malaysia during the media drive, which I wasn't there. That predated my entry into the industry, but the few of my friends who went for that one said that I think 9 out of 10 cars, the transmission overheated. So I think later batches of cars came with CVT fluid coolers. So yeah, those will be fine. But of course, if the CVT is regularly subject to harsh driving, then uh, then there's a chance that the CVT may break down somewhere down the line. Sanjeeva Rao, is it true that VW maintenance is costlier than BMW or Mercedes maintenance? I think it really depends on which mechanic you send your car to be honest. I would venture that the VW is definitely costlier to maintain than my E39. But then again, right, when you compare a VW to a modern BMW or a modern Mercedes with turbo engines, mm, I think they are about the same. I think they are about the same. Toto, any news on the return of Suzuki cars to Malaysia? The current Swift is nice. There have been some rumors, but nothing concrete. Kijang 777. Any difference between GVC and GVC Plus? From what I understand, GVC Plus includes top vectoring by braking software. So Krakon asks, what would you say is the best D segment under 50k? I think if you're looking at that, can't depending on the age that you're looking for though, can't run away from the Camry or the Accord. But if you are a bit more baller, the 2003 Subaru Legacy, those are going for about 35 to 40k. Okay, all right. So guys, One more. Okay, Iwan Lim, have you reviewed Land Cruiser 200 or 202 before? No. Andrew Gunawan, why are there so many issues with CVT after only so little mileage? I think it's due to the driving style. CVT transmissions are not conducive towards hard driving. Okay, guys, sorry I have to cut this short. My daughter there is crying. So, yeah. So I will see you guys for the next live broadcast. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow you guys need to tune into Thomas Yap's channel and catch his conversation with Alex Stamrock. All right, and to those of you guys who celebrate Thaipusam, happy Thaipusam, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, cheers, guys. Take care.